Welcome back to Iraqi Dinar Alert. For years, investors and currency watchers have been asking one big question. Will the Iraqi dinar ever revalue as 2025 unfolds? This discussion has only gotten louder. Thousands of people are searching for any sign of a potential surge in the dinar's value. But what are the experts really saying? Is there actual evidence of a revaluation on the horizon, or is it all just speculation and wishful thinking? In this video, we're going to break down the economic signals, the expert opinions, the political factors, and the hard realities behind the highly talked about Iraqi Dinar Revaluation 2025. First, let's get clear on what a revaluation actually means. It's when a country officially adjusts its currency's value upward compared to other currencies. So, if the Iraqi dinar were to revalue against the US dollar, it would mean one dinar becomes worth more in US dollars. This would boost the country's purchasing power, making imports cheaper, and investors holding dinar could potentially see a significant profit. But it's crucial to understand that reevaluations are rare. They don't just happen. They only occur when a country's economy shows massive improvement and achieves a high degree of stability. So why is the dinar revaluation topic so incredibly popular? The interest in the Iraqi dinar goes all the way back to the early 2000s. The core belief is that if Iraq can achieve political and economic stability, its currency could rise dramatically in value. There are a few reasons for this persistent hype. First and foremost, Iraq sits on some of the world's largest oil reserves, which is a massive economic asset. Then you have the online gurus who have been making bold predictions for years, building a community of hopeful investors. There are also historical comparisons to other countries, like Kuwait, whose currencies recovered after conflicts. And finally, the Iraqi government itself has made statements about economic reforms, which fuels the hope for change. However, despite all this excitement, experts consistently stress the need for caution and realistic expectations. The hype is one thing, the reality on the ground is another, to figure out if a surge is even possible. We have to look at Iraq's current economic situation in 2025. There are several key factors influencing the dinar right now. First, the positive signs. Iraq's oil revenues are strong. As one of the world's top oil producers, the country has benefited from higher oil prices in recent years. This has boosted government revenue, helping to fund reconstruction projects and public services. Strong oil revenue is a solid foundation for any economy, and it's a definite positive sign for the dinar. Next, there are the monetary reforms. The Central Bank of Iraq, or CBI, has been discussing long-term plans to modernize its banking system. These plans include fighting corruption, balancing inflation, and stabilizing the exchange rate. These are the right moves to build investor confidence, but they don't guarantee a sudden revaluation overnight. They are slow, methodical processes. Inflation control is another positive. Compared to previous decades, inflation in Iraq has been relatively stable. A country that can control inflation has a stronger currency over time. It shows fiscal discipline. And finally, foreign investment. Iraq continues to attract foreign investors, especially in sectors like oil, construction, and technology. More investment flowing into a country generally leads to a stronger economy, which in the long run strengthens the currency. But it's not all good news. Experts are quick to point out the significant obstacles that Iraq still faces. These are the major hurdles that must be overcome before any serious revaluation can happen. The biggest one is political instability. Frequent changes in government, public protests, and ongoing regional tensions make long-term economic planning extremely difficult. A stable political climate is absolutely essential for currency growth, and Iraq is still working towards that. Then there's the massive issue of corruption. It remains one of Iraq's biggest challenges. No matter how good the economic reforms look on paper, their effectiveness depends entirely on transparency and strong, uncorrupted institutions. Security risks also play a part. Although the overall security situation has improved, threats still exist. These threats can slow down economic progress and spook investors who value stability above all else. And finally, there's the heavy dependence on oil. Iraq's economy is almost entirely reliant on its oil exports. Without diversifying into other sectors, the country's long-term currency stability remains uncertain. What happens if oil prices crash? Experts see these obstacles as the primary reasons why a sudden surge is unlikely. They acknowledge the progress, but they also see the long road ahead. So, with all that in mind, what are the experts actually saying about a 2025 revaluation? Financial analysts and currency experts generally fall into three camps. First, you have the optimists. These are the analysts who believe the dinar could gradually increase in value as Iraq continues to stabilize and strengthen its economy. Their reasoning is based on a few key points. Iraq's oil revenue provides a strong economic floor. The government is actively pushing for financial reforms, regional partnerships are improving, and Iraq genuinely wants to increase its standing on the international stage. But even the optimists are not predicting a sudden, dramatic surge. They're talking about a slow, steady rise over a long period. The second and largest group is the realists. Most mainstream currency experts fall into this category. They argue that a major overnight revaluation is highly unlikely. They emphasize that Iraq needs deep, long-term structural reforms before the dinar can significantly increase in value. They believe any changes to the exchange rate will likely be small and gradual. From their perspective, the Iraqi dinar remains a higher-risk, speculative investment, and they recommend extreme caution, especially for new investors. The third group is the skeptics. This is a smaller group, but their voice is important. They believe the dinar will not revalue in any meaningful way anytime soon. Their reasons are straightforward. Iraq still has fundamental economic weaknesses. A currency revaluation of the type people dream about is an incredibly rare event that requires a complete economic transformation, and most of the predictions floating around are based on rumors and speculation, not official policy. The skeptics argue that the expectations of a huge surge are unrealistic and can mislead people into making poor financial decisions. So, what would actually need to happen for a real revaluation? Experts from all camps generally agree on a checklist of necessary conditions. This includes a stable and strong government that can implement long-term policy. It requires a significant reduction in corruption. Iraq would need to diversify its national economy away from oil. Its banking system would need major upgrades to meet international standards. The country would need a long-term international economic strategy and complete control over inflation and its money supply. While Iraq is working towards some of these goals, achieving all of them takes years, if not decades. It's not something that can be accomplished in a few months. So, could we see a surge soon? The simple answer is that there is no official confirmation from the Central Bank of Iraq that a major revaluation is planned for 2025. Any rumors you hear about a specific date or a sudden massive increase are based on pure speculation, not confirmed policy. However, that doesn't mean nothing is happening. Experts do see signs of slow, steady economic improvement. The dinar may strengthen gradually over a very long time. A surge is possible in the distant future, but it's not something that can be predicted with any certainty. This brings us to the final question: should you invest in the dinar? This is a personal decision, but it's essential to understand that investing in the Iraqi dinar is a high-risk speculative choice. Let's look at the pros and cons. The main pro is the potential for long-term appreciation if everything goes perfectly. Iraq's strong oil foundation and ongoing economic reforms are points in its favor, but the cons are significant. There is absolutely no guaranteed revaluation. The currency is not widely traded globally, and it can be very difficult to exchange it back into major currencies like the US dollar. It carries high political and economic risk, and there are many scams targeting potential dinar buyers. The universal advice from experts is simple: only invest money you can comfortably afford to lose completely. So, let's circle back to our original question. Are experts predicting a surge in the Iraqi dinar in 2025? The honest answer is no. Most experts do not expect a sudden revaluation or a massive surge this year. What they do see is gradual progress in Iraq's economy. They see small steps that could, over the long term, slowly strengthen the dinar. The popular idea of a dramatic overnight jump in value remains highly unlikely and is mostly driven by online speculation. The Iraqi dinar is a fascinating topic, but it's one that requires a healthy dose of caution, independent research, and realistic expectations. A revaluation might be possible someday, but 2025 is unlikely to be the year that brings the explosive surge so many are hoping for. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more updates. We'll see you next time.